Midnight news coming to you live from Algiers. I'm Marim Zien, and here are your top stories for tonight. Spain, Norway and Ireland officially recognized the Palestinian state and affirmed that peace in the Middle East can only be achieved through the establishment of a fully sovereign Palestinian state. The Palestinian presidency welcomes the recognition, and Hamas considers it a fruit of the Palestinian people's struggle. Next, the Zionist occupation army commits 6 massacres, leaving 62 martyrs on the 229th day of war on Gaza. And UK Prime Minister officially asks King Charles to dissolve Parliament for first general election on July 4th. Hello and welcome back again. Spain, Norway and Ireland have announced that they officially recognize the Palestinian state in a step that will take effect as of May 2028. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez accused in a statement Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of continuing to destroy Gaza and of endangering the two-state solution. He stressed the peaceful character of the Spanish people, which is demonstrated by their protests against the massacres in Gaza. For his part, Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre said that the goal of the recognition is to establish a politically cohesive Palestinian state led by the Palestinian Authority, stressing that the war in Gaza clearly highlighted that achieving peace and stability must be based on resolving the Palestinian issue. Meanwhile, Irish Prime Minister Simon Harris stressed that the Palestinian people deserve a future full of hope and peace, stressing that there is no future for the extremist version of Zionism that fuels settler violence and land confiscation.
On these same steps with Prime Minister Sánchez of Spain. Today, Ireland, Norway and Spain are announcing that we recognise the state of Palestine. Each of us will now undertake whatever national steps are necessary to give effect to that decision. In the lead up to today's announcement, I've spoken with a number of other leaders and counterparts, and I'm confident that further countries will join us in taking this important step in the coming weeks.
After reaching a consensus between the two parties that form the progressive coalition government and in implementation of the feelings of the majority of the Spanish people, Spain will approve next Tuesday, coinciding with the 28th of May, in its cabinet meeting, the recognition of the state of Palestine. If there is one obvious thing for me, is that Prime Minister Netanyahu does not have a project for peace in Palestine. Netanyahu causes a lot of pain, a lot of destruction and violence in Gaza and the rest of Palestine, to the extent that the two-state solution is now seriously endangered.
The government has decided that Norway will recognize the state of Palestine. Norway's recognition will come into force on May 28. With that, Norway will regard Palestine as an independent state with all the rights and duties that this entails. A Palestinian state is obliged, in line with international law, to live in peace within secure, internationally recognized borders and to comply with all relevant UN resolutions.
Belgian Deputy Prime Minister Petra de Sutter stressed on Wednesday the need for her country to recognize the Palestinian state, as it is the case for Norway, Ireland and Spain. De Sutter said in a post on the X platform, it is time to recognize the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination, including their right to an independent state, affirming that she currently fights for this matter through her work in the government. And the Palestinian presidency hailed the announcement by Spain, Norway, and Ireland to recognize the state of Palestine, commending their contribution to consecrating the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination and in taking actual steps to support the implementation of the two-state solution. The Palestinian presidency confirmed in a statement that the decision of these countries comes as a culmination of positions that support the rights of the Palestinian people to get rid of colonialism and oppression and to live in freedom, justice, and independence. The Palestinian presidency also urged the countries of the world, especially the European ones, to follow suit and recognize the state of Palestine in accordance with the internationally endorsed two-state solution. The Islamic resistance movement Hamas welcomed on Wednesday the announcement by Norway, Ireland, and Spain to recognize the state of Palestine. The movement said in a statement that it considers this recognition an important step to establishing the right of Palestinians to their land, as well as establishing their independent Palestinian state with Al-Quds as its capital. It also called on countries around the world to recognize Palestinians' legitimate national rights, support their struggle for liberation and independence, and end the Zionist occupation of Palestine. The leader of the Hamas movement, Izzat al-Rishq, emphasized that the recognition of the state of Palestine by Norway, Ireland, and Spain is the result of the struggle, resistance, and steadfastness of the Palestinian people.
The recognition of Palestine by Norway, Ireland, and Spain is the fruit of the struggle of our Palestinian people, their heroic resistance, the legendary steadfastness of our people in Gaza against the Zionist extermination machine, and the steadfastness of our people in the West Bank and Al-Quds against the aggression of the occupation army and settler militias. It also reflects the unity of our Palestinian people everywhere in choosing resistance as the only way to achieve our goals of freedom, self-determination, and the establishment of our independent Palestinian state with Al-Quds as its capital.
After several victories achieved by the state of Palestine on the international arena, it's the turn now for Spain, Ireland, and Norway to recognize the Palestinian state and turn their back to the Zionist occupier and its allies. Mohammed Khatel reports.
فإن المجلس الوطني يعلن.
Proclaimed in November 1988 by the Palestine Liberation Organization PLO during a solemn session of the Palestinian National Council in Algiers, the state of Palestine continues to make new political achievements with the expansion of the list of countries that recognize it as a fully fledged state. With the official announcement of their decisions scheduled for May 28, Oslo, Dublin, and Madrid join almost 140 countries, or more than two-thirds of the members of the United Nations that have already recognized the state of Palestine. Moving from words to action, the three European countries turn their back to the Zionist entity and its traditional U.S. ally, further increasing their isolation after more than 7 months of devastating aggression against the Gaza Strip. The announcement of the official recognition of the Palestinian state by Ireland, Spain, and Norway comes in the context of the achievements made on the ground and diplomatic achievements made by the Palestinian resistance and its Al-Aqsa flood operation that forced the world to hear the voice of the Palestinians who are subjected to the worst crimes of genocide and ethnic cleansing. Everything indicates that other countries will follow in the coming weeks the example of the European countries that have now recognized the Palestinian state, a state which, thanks to Algeria's diplomatic efforts and unwavering support, managed to snatch the recognition of several countries of the world and also managed to become a fully fledged member of the United Nations.
The Israeli occupation army committed 6 massacres during the 229th day of its aggression against the Gaza Strip, resulting in 62 martyrs and 138 injuries. The Palestinian Ministry of Health in Gaza said a number of victims are still under the rubble and in areas that ambulance and civil defense teams cannot reach, bringing the number of martyrs in the Gaza Strip since the beginning of the genocidal war against Gaza to more than 35,700. In other developments, Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei performed on Wednesday the funeral prayer or janaza prayer over the body of the late President Ibrahim Raisi and his companions, including Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian, who died in the helicopter crash. Crowds gathered at Tehran University and its surroundings where the funeral prayer was performed. The funeral ceremony was held in the presence of a large number of Tehran residents, security leaders, and senior Iranian officials, in addition to leaders and officials representing many countries. On the instruction of Algerian President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, Brahim Boughali, the head of the Algerian National People's Assembly, participated in the funeral proceedings of the late Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and his entourage. A statement by the Algerian Parliamentary Office confirmed Boughali's attendance. He traveled to Tehran on Tuesday for the funeral ceremony. Upon his arrival at Tehran International Airport, Boughali received a warm reception from Abul Fadl Amawi, chairman of the Iranian Parliament's Committee on National Security and Foreign Policy, and Algerian ambassador to Iran, Ali Aroush. According to a statement by the Algerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Ahmed Attaf, the head of the Algerian diplomacy, engaged in a telephone discussion on Tuesday evening with Ali Bagheri Kani, Iran's acting Minister of Foreign Affairs. Attaf affirmed his commitment to advancing bilateral cooperation between the two nations, aligning with the shared aspirations and ambitions of both countries and peoples. Within this framework, Attaf reiterated Algeria's condolences to the Islamic Republic of Iran, echoing sentiments expressed by President Abdelmajid Tebboune in his message of condolences following the tragic accident resulting in the loss of President Ibrahim Raisi and Foreign Minister Amir Abdullahian. Algerian Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf held on Tuesday a phone call with his Portuguese counterpart Paulo Rangel. A statement by the Algerian Foreign Ministry explained that Minister Attaf renewed on this occasion his congratulations to his Portuguese counterpart on his recent appointment as head of Portugal's diplomacy and reviewed with him the upcoming bilateral events that fall within the framework of the implementation of the outcomes of the state visit made by the Algerian president to Portugal last year and the momentum and dynamic it gave to bilateral relations. The same source added that the two ministers exchanged visions and analyses regarding international and regional issues of common concern, for most of which the situation in the occupied Palestinian territories. Algerian Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf conducted phone calls on Wednesday with his counterparts from Uganda, Odongo Gigi Abubakar, Congo, Jean-Claude Gakuso, and Namibia, Beya Mushelenga. A statement by the Algerian Foreign Ministry clarified that Minister Attaf reviewed the current status of bilateral relations in various dimensions and aspects with his African counterparts. They also exchanged analyses regarding the latest developments at the continental level, particularly in preparation for the important ministerial meeting that Algeria will host next June regarding the reform of the Security Council. And on Wednesday, President Abdelmajid Tebboune presided over a Council of Ministers meeting focused on reviewing draft laws and presentations covering various sectors. The meeting also addressed the progress of infrastructure projects, including the construction of railway lines such as Bashar Tindouf, Garaj Bilat, and Bled Al-Hadbat, Bissa Wad Al-Kibrit, Port of Annaba. Additionally, there was deliberation on the advancement of the grain storage silos project. Preparations for the upcoming summer season and arrangements for the reception of Algerians residing abroad were also discussed during the session. In the same context, Algerian President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and Minister of National Defense, chaired a cabinet meeting on Wednesday. President Tebboune directed during the meeting to postpone the draft insurance law to re-examine it, stressing that the field of insurance is closely related to national sovereignty. President Tebboune also stressed that the draft insurance law should not contain any loopholes in order to preserve the public treasury. And regarding the progress of the Garage Bilat mine project and the Bishartin Douf Garage Bilat mining railway, President Tebboune praised the efforts made in the field with satisfactory progress in realization of the Garage Bilat mine project, with the completion of the land selection phase for the iron ore processing unit plant in Bashar province and the start of work on other iron ore processing plant in Garage Bilat, in addition to the continuation of the work of the primary processing unit in Tindouf, which started in 2023. Regarding Bashar Tindouf, Garage Bilat and Bled Al Hadbat, Bissa Wed Al Kibrit port of Annaba, the Algerian president expressed satisfaction with the pace of work, which is proceeding without interruption, allowing the project to be delivered on time. The Algerian cabinet meeting also addressed preparations for the summer vacation season and arrangements for the reception of the Algerian community abroad. Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune ordered the establishment of a national committee to facilitate investment in new tourism sectors or structures, especially in coastal areas that lack such structures. President Tebboune also ordered the revision of prices that make them affordable for Algerian families to strengthen and encourage domestic tourism, in addition to strictly enforce the law against all forms of seasonal brokering on beaches and enshrining full respect for the principle of free charge across all Algerian coasts. The Algerian political parties represented in the elected councils appreciated the frank and constructive discussion that took place in their meeting with President Tebboune, affirming their commitment to most national and international issues. Marwa Al-Aywar has more details.
In a historic first, Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune convened a landmark meeting with leaders from 27 political parties, marking a significant milestone in the nation's democratic journey. This unprecedented gathering underscores President Tebboun's unwavering dedication to promoting participatory democracy and fostering a culture of dialogue and inclusive consultations. Party leaders have praised the open and constructive dialogue fostered during the discussions, highlighting the significance of this initiative in shaping Algeria's political landscape.
تلقينا بطبيعة الحال بارتياح كبير.
We have received with great satisfaction the invitation extended by the President of the Republic to hold a consultative meeting on the eve of important electoral deadlines. This is unprecedented. We discussed matters of national, regional and international interest. They have given us the freedom to express our concerns as political parties and those of the Algerian people. We presented our vision on the issue of party reformation.
The widespread praise for President Tebboun's initiative underscores the significance of consulting on national issues and embracing diverse viewpoints.
Each party has expressed its opinion. We raised concerns that we consider urgent, requiring attention related to easing the situation, providing a political and social climate that allows the Algerian people to exercise their sovereignty.
This meeting is so important and should be valued. This communication and consultative path is built on dialogue and consultation regarding various issues concerning the country and matters of national interest.
Ahead of the upcoming presidential elections in Algeria on September 7th, President Tebboun's recent meeting with political parties stands out as a pivotal moment in the country's democratic journey. Widely praised for promoting consultative democracy, this gathering underscores President Tebboun's unwavering dedication to the Algerian population. His firm commitment to inclusive governance and dialogue serves as a guiding principle, steering the nation towards a more cohesive and empowered future.
Algeria's participation at the World Water Forum highlights its cultural vibrancy and innovative solutions to water scarcity, including desalination projects and addressing environmental challenges like the Saura region's drought. Nabil Khazini, our special envoy to Bali, Indonesia, has more details.
When the visitor of the exhibition hall at the World Water Forum walks in its corridors, he or she is attracted by the Algerian stand, the colors, the dates, and the sweets on the copper table, and the warmth welcoming makes anyone passing by able to experience a glimpse of the Algerian rich culture.
Impressive experience today, and I think this one of the best pavilion I've ever visited, because it gives us the reality, the existing, the present reality, what we have nowadays.
It was pretty nice. It's quite immersive, and you can feel the heat it simulates being in the desert. It is actually quite a change from the AC to the heat, and yeah, it's pretty nice. It does feel scary with the glass, but other than that, pretty good.
The stand is also a spot to show what Algeria has done in the field of water resources and water management. As the world witnesses a wave of water scarcity, Algeria, to mention a few, has launched since 2021 5 mega projects for seawater desalination to cope with the natural lack of water.
My impression to this boat is very good. Algerian boat is very nice. It's very informative. So I asked a lot of questions about how Algerians manage the water in Algeria, because they have a limited source of the water. So how they make the water in Algeria is they bring it from the sea. They make desalination to remove all the salt, and then that will be a domestic consumption. They have series of water plant all over this store, so it's very nice. So Algeria want to make sure they can produce water enough to give to the community. Yeah, it's very good.
Water scarcity can also be caused, in some cases, by the human factor. This multidimensional video room at Algeria's stand tells one of such side stories, the Saura. The region in the southwestern part of Algeria is experiencing a severe drought because of a dam being built in the western neighboring country, and which is blocking the natural flow of water into the region, causing significant harm to every creature living in the Saura. The World Water Forum is an important international gathering, not only to talk about global issues, but is also an opportunity to come together to find solutions in a world longing for this vital substance.
Moving on to Sudan now, at least 85 people were killed and hundreds more were injured in the city of Al-Fashir in Darfur as a result of battles between the army and the rapid support forces, according to reports by Doctors Without Borders NGO. Claire Nicolet, head of the emergency response for Doctors Without Borders in Sudan, said that Al-Fashir South Hospital, the only medical facility still operating in the city, received 707 injured people, 85 of whom have died. Meanwhile, the commander-in-chief of the Sudanese army, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, vowed to pursue the rapid support forces, adding that the battle is at its beginning. UK's Prime Minister has officially asked King Charles to dissolve Parliament for his first general election as monarch on July 4th. He made the announcement in a press conference outside of 10 Downing Street on Wednesday, after saying that Charles will dissolve Parliament on May 30th, 25 working days ahead of the next general election.
Earlier today, I spoke with His Majesty the King to request the dissolution of Parliament. The King has granted this request, and we will have a general election on the 4th of July.
Well, that concludes tonight's program. Thank you for watching and have a great night.